Hey guys, I'm Tom with the Motorcycle TransAm. I'm down here at Wheels Through Time, which is going to be our first major stop on the race, and I'm here with none other than Matt Walksler. And today we're going to take a couple minutes and talk about some bikes that have gone across the country, man.
Super excited to have the Trans Am coming through. You know, the museum here, 375 all-American motorcycles. Everything cranks up and runs. Excited to host you guys coming up. It's going to be an awesome time. We're looking forward to having y'all. Doing a new exhibit right now, right in our main gallery. So the place is kind of tore apart and looking a mess, and everything's coming together. Opening day here at the museum this year is April 3rd. So it's coming up real fast. We're on the home stretch. Our new exhibit right here in our main gallery, and made some incredible changes throughout the museum this winter. But the new exhibit, it's called It's Only Original Once. 22 original condition motorcycles dating all the way from 1905 to 1958. So really excited to kind of bring that exhibit. A lot of unknown makes and marks. You know, we've got your Harleys, your Indians. There's actually 12 brands of machines that are going to be right here in the exhibit. A couple really cool cross-country motorcycles. One of the cross-country motorcycles that's not in the exhibit, my favorite one, is my dad's old cross-country machine that he rode in 2010 from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina to Santa Monica. So same starting point as the Trans Am this year. My dad jumped on this 1915 Harley and rode almost every single mile across the country in that very first coast-to-coast event for the 100-year-old and older bikes. So thing runs like a top, looks wore out and beat up. You know, it's actually 1915 Magneto model. And like I said, man, bike, you can leave it a year or two at a time, put a little gas in it, start it right up, man. Couple prime kicks and one to go, and it runs as good as the day we rebuilt it for the run. So
What else we got around here, Matt?
so guys, the original exhibit, like I said, 12 brands. One of the brands a lot of guys never heard of is right over here. It's the Eagle motorcycle. So Eagles were made in Brockton, Massachusetts, I think 1913 through 1915. This is such a special motorcycle, and it has a great coast-to-coast story. So a fellow named Frank Ely from Hartford, Connecticut, actually ordered this bike from Eagle specially to run coast to coast. So Eagle used the Spacky Deluxe engine. So that's like they made a 7 horsepower and a 9 horsepower engine, Spacky did. The Eagle actually touted this machine as an 11 horsepower bike, and I don't know how they got 11 horsepower out of the same motor. It does have a 2-speed rear hub though, so I don't know if that's what they were kind of factoring into that. Maybe get a little bit more top end out of it. But the bike was specially ordered with that 2-speed rear hub. You got this extra wide gas tank here, which is quite a bit bigger than a normal Eagle style gas tank. Like I said, the 2-speed hub, you got the rear seat. Frank actually went with his wife coast to coast on this machine and back. He went all the way from Hartford, Connecticut to San Francisco, and then back the long way. I think the trip was 7,000 miles in total. So you can hear the grinder right now working. We're tuning this place up for you guys. Like I said, totally looking forward to y'all coming in September. Got one more coast-to-coast bike, or something kind of coast-to-coast. So the earliest bike in the new exhibit, and like I said, 12 different marks, 22 motorcycles. You got 39 ULH here, straight up above you, 1942 WLA, the 47 Knucklehead, Harleys, Excelsiors, Daytons, and then the Yale over here, one of my favorite bikes, the earliest bike in the exhibit. This is a 1905 Yale, California. So bike is almost identical to the very first motor vehicle to cross the United States. A fellow named George Wyman on a California motorcycle went Los Angeles to New York. Was it Los Angeles to San Francisco? San Francisco to New York. So George Wyman, pretty much an identical machine, as primitive as it comes, completely rigid front end, poppet valve engine with a mixer. I wouldn't even call it a carburetor. Ultra small displacement. If you can imagine trying to muscle one of these things coast to coast across the great unknown, they don't make them like they used to. Guys were just tougher back then. So make sure you come and visit. We're stoked to have you guys.
Hey, Matt, we're so pleased to be able to come over, and we're pleased to be able to drop a couple Panheads in for this museum. And dude, it'll be a really fun time.
Well,
Thanks so much for having us.
Oh man, that's the best part. What I didn't tell you guys is Tom's been generous enough to donate. Donate?
Well, I think they're on loan, baby.
Tom's good.
Cut.
Tom's loaning 2 of his favorite Panheads, and now they're 2 of my favorite Panheads. He's going to set them in the museum for the exhibit duration. They're going to be here for a year. Really excited. The 1950. Tell me about them.
So 1950 is Bob, about 11,000 original miles, and Sportsman Yellow, which was a optional color for that year, was mostly for the lightweight bikes.
It's the only one I've ever seen that color.
That's the only one we know of. And of course, Doris. Doris is the 1953 that Doris Crennel bought brand new in Youngstown, Ohio. And Doris rode that motorcycle 170,000 miles up until prior to 6 months prior to her death. So tremendous motorcycle. And that bike is the optional color too, Glamour Green.
Glamour Green. It's got to be one of the highest mile Panheads.
It's got a total
Period.
of 207,000 miles on it. And Sean and I have rode it this year, so you know it's a fun bike.
Killer, man. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited to put them up. We got special spots picked out. We're gonna have the whole stories. Best part about this exhibit is that it's not just Harleys, though. You know, the 12 brands of machines, and try to pick and spread it across 5 decades. Latest machine being a '58 Sportster, earliest machine being the '05 Yale, but you know, 3 or so machines from every decade, and a great representation of the marks that were being produced. So man, we're excited, and I'm excited to show everybody on the Trans Am the new exhibit and what Wheels Through Time's all about. So thanks for the
Awesome.
time.
Thanks so
man.
much for having us, Matt.
Sure
Appreciate
thing,
it,
man.
brother.